value of cross-cultural education is, and you're listening and you know that in the state of Florida, the students there won't get this. Diane, help me out here. What should we be doing to be certain that students in Florida, black students in Florida, because they ain't getting it either, right, unless they get it at home, as a state senator, what should be happening? What should we be doing to be certain that these citizens in Florida, these black students in Florida, and all the students in Florida get the cross-cultural education and appreciations of one another's culture that is found through books and teaching?
Daryl, what a important question. You know, I'm thinking about what I heard Caitlyn say, and I processing this in the context of Professor Quarles' remarks, and that is this. Number one, most of us, I dare say most of us, and certainly those of us are more than 40 years old who know anything about our history didn't get it in the day-to-day matriculation of public school in America. It was done outside of school. It was done at home. It was done in the church basements. It was done in those organizations that we would all, find and belong to. So we have to keep that up. What is different about our Florida and the states that you see that are now obsessed with the book bans? It's not just that they don't teach it. They didn't teach it anyway. But they have decided to create a whole otherworldly version of it. So that's the dangerous part to me. The dangerous part about this, that slavery wasn't so bad. It's not. Right. What Professor Quarles is saying would be heresy right now, because it goes against this new wave of not only we're not going to teach it, but we are going to tell them the things to counteract what the other folks know. We're the other folks here, and so I think our charge has just gotten a lot more important to protect the people and lift up the people that continue to teach the truth, like the professor, using social media as a vehicle to pipe in, like piped in music. We got to pipe in the truth, for students and make it available. Doing these kinds of presentations is why what PJC does is so important. And I know I sound like a broken record, but the more nonsense that you hear, the more you become appreciative of this. Who is the governor? Is it the governor of Utah, I think, who banned the teaching of African American history and then sent out Let's Celebrate Black History Month this week, right, and is getting roasted in the press. They are tying themselves in knots with their own contradictions, and we have to double down in the obligation to continue to set the record straight in teaching not our children their real history like we always did, but making sure that we have a process in place to counter the madness that they are spreading about how good slavery was to us and how it wasn't so bad, and how, the whole notion of Jim Crow, like, is a figment of our imagination because we've always been friends and worked, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. But we're going to fight it like we always do.
Yes. And Maureen, are you still with us? Okay.
I am.
Oh, good. So, Maureen, when you teach, I've done, survey courses on civil rights, and I've done, courses on voting rights. And when you teach voting rights, you have to teach history, right? I mean, it's not like they're disengaged. When you're listening to this discussion, because you're a professor also, you stand up every day and you're, teaching and you're leading, just tell people, what, we all know that Black History Month is just a month, but that we got to do Black history, as Diane was saying. You got to drumbeat it, as Ernie was saying, every single day. So tell people, just your perspective on this current environment that we're fighting to teach Black history in.
Yeah, Barbara, that's a great question. I think that the state of public education in the United States is definitely at a crossroads. I think we're seeing in probably 28, maybe even 30 states that there are laws preventing teachers from teaching any topic, particularly dealing with race, slavery, the Civil War, racism, preventing teachers from teaching those topics that cause mainly white students to feel discomfort, guilt, or anguish. And as a result, public school students, millions of them, are learning ahistorical versions of the country's history where, lessons about the necessity of the Voting Rights Act, the importance of MLK and the movement, and, other civil rights giants are virtually erased from textbooks. And I think when people do not know the history of racial discrimination in this country, the legacy of slavery in this country, it's very easy to understand why, a court might say, okay, the Voting Rights Act is really not for individual plaintiffs or nonprofits, just for the government, right? If you're divorced from history, it might make sense to you, but that's not the reality.
And that's really interesting, Maureen, that you say you're absolutely right. It's not the reality. But Professor Quarles, I'm just sitting here and I'm pondering, some of the institutions that are here across our country, some of our greatest institutions that are obviously not in Florida, are teaching the cross-cultural education components. Is there any value to the thought process of somehow restricting admission to some of the universities for the students that come out of Florida that aren't learning this cross-cultural component of education? Is there anything that can be done in that regard?
I think, first of all, we've got to stop with Black history as an elective and Black culture as an elective. It's got to be part of a core curriculum. And I think, to kind of quote somehow Ta-Nehisi Coates, we've got to remind people that the study of history fills one with a range of emotions that are not necessarily positive. But that experience results in an enlightenment, which provides a deeper understanding of humanity. And so what constantly made me shake my head whenever I would hear people talk about, the fragility of their children. And I'm thinking, how can you square that minor discomfort with the pain and the suffering when you watch the Freedom Riders documentary, where white and Black people were being physically abused? It's mindless. But, Daryl, I think the other thing that we've got to start doing in this whole dialogue about both Black history and voting rights and how do you make these connects, just as an example, you take the movie Rustin on Bayard Rustin, which I think is a great job in terms of getting young people and adults to understand what was the organizational strategy and energy that went into that movement. Because watching that and seeing that and feeling that is critical for folks to be able to understand what can happen now. So, watching that movie and watching the movie Origin that just came out, looking for those intersections of oppression, I think are critically important in terms of motivating and getting people engaged.
Thank you so much. And in our remaining minutes of this show, Ernie, can you quickly tell people how can they get in touch with you, sir?
Oh, sure. My email address at Hopkins is equrle1@jhu.edu.
Thank you so much. The same, Maureen. How do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. As a millennial, Instagram is probably best. My Instagram handle is @Maureen, Maureen, Edobor, spelled Edobor. See you on Instagram.
All right now. Thank you so much. Diane. Okay. She must be. All right. So, Caitlyn Arnwine, I'm
still here, Barbara.
Oh, there you go, Diane. How do people get in touch with you?
I said I want to start with tjcoalition.org as the treasurer.
Yeah.
Again, this is just another reminder. This last 60 minutes is 59 minutes. Another reminder of the importance of the work, and we want and need the support of all of the listeners who appreciate the work. And so if you're inclined, donate. You say never at a time. Freedom ain't free. So please go on and make a donation. We'd appreciate it. TJCoalition.org, and we welcome. And certainly New Day. .dw52@gmail.com. That is me, New Day, one word, .dw52@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. Thank you again, Daryl and Barbara. Your leadership is absolutely essential in this moment.
Thank you.
Amen.
And Caitlyn, thank you. And Caitlyn, how do people get in touch with you and remind them of how they can follow this series, this incredible Black History series every day, quickly?
People can get in touch with me on Twitter at the Caitlyn Bot. That's TheCaitlyn, and then BOT, all one word, at the Caitlyn Bot. Also, once again, you can go to votingrightsalliance.org, see all of the stories up through this, and at the end of the month, there'll even be a great interactive calendar as we do every year, and as well as all the stories posted on that Black History tab as well. So all the stories that we've done since 2017. Again, that's votingrightsalliance.org.
Daryl?
Barbara, we encourage everyone to go to tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org, and download that resolution that we have.
There you go.
All your state, all your representatives, all your local representatives. Tell them to introduce this resolution. You want to go and listen to it be debated. You want to see it be voted on. You want to see it become enacted and then sent in to become part of the brief that we present to the Supreme Court. Folks, we have been recognizing the efforts. We've been recognizing the history. We've been recognizing the contributions of one of the greatest people to exist on talk radio, and that was the great Joe Madison. And the great Joe Madison would always end by saying, when you run into an issue and you're talking about a problem, what are you going to do about it? Well, folks, what are you going to do about this assault that we've been talking about on the Voting Rights Act? One thing you can do is download the resolution, call your representative, and get them to introduce it, because we're not here for a moment. We're here for a movement, and we've got to sacrifice ourselves in order to get it. Folks, get off the sidewalk, get into the streets, make your way to a ballot box, take the resolution, and let's get this movement going. Until next Tuesday, noon, Eastern Standard Time, peace, everybody.
Peace.
The preceding program was paid for by Barbara Arnwine.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Honors Best in Black airs Sunday, February 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern on TV1, with performances by Mary J. Blige, Dionne Warwick, Chloe, Frankie Beverly, Donald Lawrence, and more, with performances by Tiana Taylor, BB Winans, Damon Little, Angie Stone, and still others to be announced. The 6th Annual Urban One Honors Best in Black airs Sunday, February 25th, 8 p.m. Eastern on TV1. 2024 is here, and we are officially in primary season. Get registered in your state and help make a difference. Remember, you cannot vote unless you have registered. If you need to find more information about how, when, and where to vote, please visit onevote2024.com. Urban One wants to thank you for registering to vote and to remind you about your state primary in Maryland on May 14th. Urban One is committed to ensuring voters of the information they need to participate in every election. Log on to onevote2024.com.
WOL Washington, D.C. W240DJ Washington. 95.9 WMMJ HD3 Bethesda. WKYS HD3 Washington. WPRS HD3 Waldorf and worldwide at WOLDCnews.com.
The views and opinions of the following show do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of News Talk 1450 WOL, Radio 1 Incorporated, or their management.
Information is power, and now available on your smartphone or tablet. Download the free WOL